at leaffilter.com/UCSS. Offer is valid on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Full terms and conditions can be found at leaffilter.com/UCSS. See representatives for warranty details. We got news during the show yesterday that the Browns were changing play callers, going from Kevin Stefanski to Ken Dorsey. Dustin and Tyvis weren't here. Since then, there have been some theories floated online as to why the decision was made. One is it'll give Kevin Stefanski the ability now to be more of a CEO, which could cut down on some of the penalties. Other theories include his play-calling style not fitting Jameis's style, and the list goes on and on. There's a couple more, including cutting down penalties. The decision was forced upon him, et cetera, et cetera. Are you guys buying any of this? Tyvis, we'll start with you.
Before we answer that question, Mike, there's a little update from Mary Kay. She said Ken Dorsey said he's leaning towards calling plays from upstairs in the booth.
I would hope so.
It's the best way to do it. You want the birds out view to see it.
Yeah. All right, what's your theory, Tyvis, as to why Kevin Stefanski gave up the play calling? Was he forced to give up the play calling?
I don't necessarily think he was forced to give it up. I just think that when you think about this offseason and everything that went into it, when they got Ken Dorsey is more shotgun happy and all of those things. You went and got a quarterback because you thought that would be the system that your offense would run. So I think you went and got a quarterback like Jameis Winston to fit Ken's style of offense. And I think when we seen DTR in there, in Deshaun's last game, obviously last week before he got hurt, it seemed like it was trending more towards back to Kevin's style of offense. And I don't think necessarily Jameis fits that one perfectly. So I think that's why they're going to let Ken go ahead and do this week, because that fits Jameis's style. That's the best chance to succeed, is the shotgun and all those things. Yes, I know what you're going to say. Well, if that was the case, why didn't they let him do it with
Exactly.
Deshaun? I want to know the same thing, because I think that he wanted to make it work.
And didn't Jameis run a lot of play action and under center in Tampa?
Yes.
Yes, he did. But, hey, gunslinger. He's a gunslinger.
Go ahead.
So I think that's what it is.
What's your take?
My guess.
My take is that Kevin Stefanski would never and has never been open to changing play callers.
Right.
That's why he was hired by the Browns. It was to come in here and be this offensive wizard and genius in terms of calling plays. We've seen it at times. We've seen his scripts to start games have been phenomenal. Right now, to do it now is just bizarre.
You think they forced him?
I do. I don't think he'd make this decision. He's too confident in himself to do that. I think that the only way he would do it is if he just literally, felt like, I give up. These people just want to do all these things, and I can't do it. Like I think that could be something that he did, but I just don't think Kevin would do this on his own. I think there's a lot of things that's being dictated behind the scenes, including what's going on in terms of who's playing quarterback. Like the fact that DTR all of a sudden was the 3 and then started, and then now his hand's kind of banged up. They don't know if he can grip a ball, so that's why so it's no surprise Jameis is going to play this week.
Yeah.
But if DTR were healthy, he'd still be playing.
Probably.
And DTR is not better than Jameis Winston, so are you really trying to win? Like, what are we doing here?
I tell you what, the way I look at it, they 1-6. I think they're looking at it as an evaluation period. We evaluating everybody. And
this whole thing stinks.
and if for the first time we've never seen Kevin not call plays, so let's evaluate it. Let's see if Ken goes out there and call these plays and the offense looks successful. What does that mean for Kevin?
This to me is absolutely the organization in full-on panic mode. Last week the change was the DTR thing. Okay.
Well, it started with Amari Cooper being traded.
Thank you. Yeah. Amari Cooper, DTR, play caller. What's next?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like this is the first step towards Kevin Stefanski eventually being fired.
It's absolutely spiraling out of control.
Yeah, it does look
Somebody's getting fired.
That's what I said.
Someone's getting fired.
And unfortunately.
Who knows who it is, but you've got a quarterback that's going to be on the cap for $170 million no matter what. You can't get out of it. You're going to be in cap hell for 2 more years. If you don't get the number 1 pick, you're screwed. I mean, they've got to draft a quarterback. And the other thing they have to do probably, and it stinks and nobody wants to talk about this, they're probably going to have to trade Myles Garrett. Unfortunately.
Well, that's a whole – why, to get more first-round picks?
They have no –
you think he's going to want to be gone?
No, it has nothing to do with him. I want him here.
They
have no ability to get players. And with the cap hell that they're going to be facing in the next 2 seasons, without trading someone like Miles, there's no chance. Like, you could probably get, for sure, a first and maybe a second, third. I don't know what you get.
Probably get 2 firsts.
Maybe.
But the thing about trading Myles Garrett, if you do, let's say they do get the first overall pick, or they get a top 5 pick, and they somehow hit on quarterback, well, then you traded Myles Garrett, who's one of your best players. Like, as bad as the salary cap's going to be, they can turn it around quickly if Adam, they get the right quarterback.
Right. It's always that, though.
Right.
But the point is, you have to have the assets to go get the quarterback you want, and to be able to do that, you probably have to get more top picks. And that's the only way to do it.
Unless they do end up with the first overall pick.
Yeah, because yes, that's certainly possible.
Yeah. They have it right now. We got a long way to go.
You would love to be able to have Myles Garrett. The problem is the team has put themselves in a position where they can't keep their best player. And the guy you thought was your best player, you're on the hook for $170 million for, and it's put you in a position where the next 2 years, I'd love to have Myles here with a rookie quarterback. But what are the odds a rookie quarterback's going to have a ton of success the first couple years?
They're not good.
Right, okay. So the point is, by year 3, when the quarterback's got the experience, well, that's all of a sudden when you come out of cap hell.
That's if they're patient with the quarterback.
There's so many uncertainties.
Yeah, they spent a first pick of the draft on them. They better be.
Yeah. Well, and then, going back to who's going to get fired at the end of the year, to me, that's all about who ultimately made the decision to trade for Deshaun Watson. And listen, most of us, myself certainly included, thought it was a great idea at the time.
Sure.
Baker wasn't good enough. He was a decent quarterback, and especially then, and things have changed in the last 2 years even, where we were at the peak at that time of you can only win with a great quarterback. And maybe that is turning a little bit where you can now win with maybe a little bit lesser quarterback. We'll see. I still don't think we're anywhere close to where you used to be able to win with just a great defense and Trent Dilfer at quarterback, or you went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. I don't think we're in those days yet, but still, the quarterback
what
play's
do you
been
think
down.
is different? I think the one thing that's different to me is that there just aren't any like elite. There's elite athletes. There's elite talent, but these guys don't come up learning how to play the position. There's not a ton of pocket passing quarterbacks who diagnose and just can throw for 500 yards. You know what I mean?
C.J. Stroud is that.
Yeah, it's rare though, Adam.
But
I'm not saying there's nobody that can do it.
Right, there's not that many
guys. Buckeyes. Yeah. So the point is, you don't got 5 guys coming out every year that you think could be the next Peyton, Tom Brady, whatever. No, it may be. It's just I don't know that we see generational talent coming out in terms of you have it all, the skill set and the mindset. Because, dude, I talk to these coaches all the time. I talk to them every week. You do too, Tyvis. Quarterback coaches are so limited in college where the players, and number one, they bounce from team to team to team, 5 teams in 4 years or whatever it is. So these coaches can't teach the kid the system. You got to make the terminology very minimal. Yeah. You got to make it a couple words, and it's a one read. And now they got the headset in the quarterback's ear in college. The coach can be like, hey, they're in cover 3, look to your right. Or there, if not,
they don't learn anything.
Before that, it was check with me. Get to the line up, and then everybody look to the sideline. I'm going to tell you what they in and run the play.
They just don't put enough on the quarterback's plate anymore, so when they're come to the league, they're not ready.
That's true.
You think a guy you think these really good quarterbacks, they're, that's an important thing to know when you're evaluating a quarterback.
No doubt.
Are you giving him the play every time? Are you telling him what to look for every time? Does this quarterback have any ability to read a defense?
If he doesn't, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
But the thing is, I get it. As a coach, you're in win now mode.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? You're handicapping him for the future, because going through a draft process, what you think they're going to get up on that board right there and tell me
when
you
in Hard Knocks. They asked
get up on that board. When you see this, what are you looking at? What's your first read?
Yeah.
What if this guy comes? What are you doing? What is your line going to do? What's the protection? It's a lot.
I think the more that
it's a lot.
I'm telling you, I think the more and more these guys just continue to bounce from school to school, it'll be tougher for them to have success in the league for a variety of reasons.
Well,
because who's the last quarterback in the NFL right now? It's all been sort of relatively new, but over the next several years, I'd be curious to know a quarterback who went to 3 schools if he has success in the NFL, as opposed to a quarterback like you mentioned, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
he was at Ohio State this whole time.
Well, Jaden Daniels switched.
He did. That's an outlier right now.
Caleb Williams did switch.
It's very early.
Yeah.
Both those guys.
I had a question for you guys.
Jalen Hurts switched.
The play caller change though. Do you think there's any credence to the possibility that now that Kevin's not calling plays, he can be more active in some other facets of the game, and maybe his clock management? Maybe his clock management.
He better be.
Let me. I'm sorry, I'm jumping over you guys today. I think this is the best move they could have made. They should have made this move a year ago. Because Stefanski on the sidelines is clueless. Not his fault. Because he's so locked into the Waffle House menu, he can't watch what's going on the field.
I think that's just why, like I said, again, this is a evaluation period. I think if they have a ton of success, if he goes out there and the offense looks great, and is that, they'll think to themselves, if we decide to stick with this same recipe, which I don't know how that's going to be, if they decide to run this same staff back next year, this will be the way we're doing it. Kevin is off the play call. I need you on, locked in. He's the first. We don't know what Kevin does outside of play calling because we've never seen it before.
It's interesting though. I mean, in the past, I thought Kevin had overall done a good job, even with the huge play calling card. I thought overall he had always done a good job in terms of clock management, timeout usage, challenges, but I think he's done a terrible job in all those areas this year. You wonder if that's Bill Callahan related because he was the running game coordinator, and now your running game coordinator is a young coach who doesn't have the experience that Bill Callahan had. And maybe that's affected Kevin Stefanski. All I know is I said a month ago he should give up the play calling. I don't like it if it's forced on him. I hope he made this decision himself. It doesn't seem that that's the case.
What do you think happened?
I think this was forced by Jimmy Haslam, but I don't know that.
I'll tell you what, Dan. The interesting thing is, very seldomly somebody gives up play calling and then goes back and takes play calling back over.
Mm-hmm. Didn't what's his name do it? The Eagles DC, the Eagles head coach,
Sirianni.
Yeah, didn't he take?
I don't remember.
Did he call in the plays again?
No, he was never the play caller.
Yeah.
No.
No, it was Shane
Okay.
Steichen.
Yeah, Shane Steichen
now
was
with the Colts,
with the
and then he
Colts.
hired Brian Johnson last year, who called the plays, and then he hired Kellen Moore this year, who's calling the plays.
No, but what about defense?
Oh, I'm not
They
sure.
had
Fangio's there now.
what's the
Fangio's
dude?
calling
Right, but
plays.
they
What's
had-
the dude from the Patriots?
Jonathan Gannon.
Matt
was there.
Patricia came over and was calling plays, wasn't
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Okay. Yeah, Matt Patricia know what the hell he's doing.
he? I don't think coaches give up play calling and go back and take it back.
I guess it's I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's happened. I can't think of
and
it.
then it's like when some coaches, like when some DCs get stripped from it, or they go put them in the booth, or they send them down on the sideline. Like it never really goes back. So
And
like
the Browns
the
need to have
Ken Dorsey thing going in the box.
Yeah.
Like that's why would.
Why don't the Browns have a quarterback coach? By the way,
Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, but there should be a quarterback coach and an OC.
Nah.
Even the cheap ass Bengals who
No.
spend no money have a quarterback coach and an OC.
Well, usually you want the OC and the quarterback coach to be kind of the same guys because the most important person is the quarterback. So you want to be able to
and the way
speak
it's
the
been set-
terminology and you don't want it to be going through somebody else. Like I want to
Right.
directly talk to the
But
guy.
if
that's
Ken
in charge.
Dorsey's up in the booth, don't you want to have a quarterback coach down in the field talking with the quarterback?
It'd probably be Kevin this week.
Okay, but I wouldn't. What's the harm of having another coach?
It's not, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's probably Kevin this week.
Okay. Well, hopefully this will tighten up things in terms of his clock management because Kevin's done a terrible job with that this year. Go ahead.